People of Soho Theatre, please welcome to the stage Tom Mayhew!
Amazing. Firstly, starting off, I always want to say at the start of my shows, at the moment I know that money's really tight, not many people have got much cash at the moment, so genuinely thank you for spending the money to come to my show. I really do appreciate it. I know not everyone can afford to throw shit around, so the fact you're here, the fact you bought a ticket genuinely means the world. No joke to that, just thank you for that. No refunds. No, that's all, dick. I need the money as well, do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, genuinely, thank you so much for coming, because it's a big show for me. It's about a big milestone I turned recently. I turned 30 last year, and I think it wasn't a joke, actually. It's going to be the easiest gig of my life. It's easy, here we go. Just name facts about myself. I was born in December. Drop that, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I turned 30 last year, right, and I think that's a big milestone for a lot of people, especially big for me, because when my dad turned 30, right, he lived in a rented council house with his wife and 2 kids. And when I turned 30, I lived in the same council house with my 2 parents. Occasionally people at a family do will be like, Tom, do you still live at home with your parents? I'm like, yeah, they're still alive, mate, yeah. Sorry to disappoint you, do you know what I mean? I don't mind living with them, though I get on with my parents very, very much, even though it is quite annoying sometimes because I just want to do my own thing in my bedroom, and occasionally I'll be like, Mum, I'm going to record a podcast in my bedroom, and she'll say something like, oh, okay, is it okay if I hoover outside? Like, absolutely not, Mum. Like, who's listening to an interview with a comedian going like, do you know what this needs? The sound of hoovering and a mum humming ABBA in the background. And I don't think... it's weird being my age 30 because my dad had 2 kids. I don't think I'd be ready to have kids, I mean, mainly because I don't think I'd be able to afford them. Like, if my partner gave birth, my first thought wouldn't be, what a beautiful baby, but like, right, how can we monetize this? You know, my partner would be like, oh, what should we call the baby? And I'd be like, well, I've been in touch with KFC just now. They've said they'll give us £5,000 if we call her the Colonel, so... I just think it's quite a sweet name, do you know what I mean? And I think people are conditioned to think they should want to have kids from a young age. Like, I was at a doctor's appointment recently, right, and this little girl had a plastic toy doll with her, and she was just sort of singing to it, walking over to this plastic kitchen area in the doctor's, and then she put the baby into this microwave. She waited a minute, then took it out and went, it's done! Nah, she should never have kids, do you know what I mean? I mean, I thought that at first, and I thought, well, maybe she's just doing like a clever satirical piece, mocking the idea that women should either work in the kitchen or have children. She should be doing a show at Soho Theatre. But yeah, I've never really wanted kids, I've never really been a thing. I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of my generation spent most of our 20s juggling either financial insecurity or mental health issues. And when that's the case, very rarely does a doctor recommend you have children. Very rarely you're going to go, oh, do you know what you need? Less sleep. What's that? You're really anxious about your own life? What about having another life to worry about? So I don't have kids. My brother, he does have 2 kids. He lives in a similar situation to what we lived in growing up. He lives in a rented council house with his partner and their 2 kids. And he does a proper job. He's like a carer. And I do this. Like, his job involves him looking after elderly people, helping them go to bed at night, helping them get their medicine, and my job involves me calling them wankers on the weekend. We both do our bit for society, that's what I'm saying there, so... But yeah, I've never really wanted kids, so I do love my nephews. They're beautiful, lovely... I've got 2 nephews, both little boys, right? And they're my favourite little people in the world, because one of them, he's 6, and he was at our house maybe like a year and a half ago, and at one point he called down to my mum, and he said, Grandma, would you be able to wipe my bum? We've all said it, right, mate? Have you said it? Many times? Have you got a partner?
No.
That explains it, okay. He did before he started saying it, and then he fucked it, do you know what I mean? But yeah, he said, can you wipe my bum? Mum was like, no, you've got to wipe it yourself. To which he responded by going, oh, I've got to do everything around here. Properly made me and Mum laugh. I was like, in fairness, maybe you should wipe it just as a reward for such a good joke. Like, and my other nephew, he's 10, and he really wants to be a YouTuber. That's his one dream job. He really wants to, do stuff on YouTube. He sees people doing it, and he sees it as an accessible career, right? And he did say to me recently, Uncle Tom, I really hope you don't die, because if you do, who's going to help make my YouTube videos? Don't know if you feel sorry for me, or if you're just like, oh, fair enough, that is cute. Like, oh, it's cute how he wants you to die. And he made a video recently, it was just a YouTube video of him kind of bopping his head with music in the background, just going, with music playing, and the text above his head that read, that feeling when you get a free breakfast in the morning. I was like, oh, mate, you're 10. You always get a free breakfast in the morning. To which he went, yeah, but Uncle Tom, if I don't do the video, maybe I won't get a free breakfast tomorrow. And in fairness, I haven't made the video, and I did buy my breakfast this morning. Kid's got a point, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I love my nephews. And my parents always tried to do the best for us growing up, because growing up we didn't really have much. We didn't have like nice clothes or expensive cars or self-esteem. Like, literally coming home from a gig once, and a guy stopped me. He was like, mate, you need to put your head up, puff your chest out, be more confident, because I'm not a mugger, but if I was, you'd be an easy target. Don't know if anyone here has been a victim of a hypothetical mugging before. You don't steal your possessions, just all your self-esteem that day. I think I'd be a really bad muggee, because when someone says give us all your money, they usually expect more than £2.50. I've got an image of a mugger sort of walking me to an ATM and being like, right mate, I'm going to leave you with £0. And it was really nice of him to clear my overdraft. But yeah, we didn't have much money growing up. Mum would always say this one phrase over and over. One phrase was, we don't really talk about money, which is why she refused to let us play the music of Johnny Cash. That joke will get funnier with inflation, don't worry. But yeah, we never had much money. We were always quite skint growing up. And I think one of the first times you noticed that when you were a kid was when you'd go on holidays, because I had family members who'd be, cousins or whatever, who'd go on expensive, exciting holidays, and we'd always go to Haven holidays. Anyone here been to Haven? Oh, a few people. Got a little Haven gang over there. That's amazing. Have you come straight from Haven for this? Do you work for them? Are you going to sue me? Fucking hell. Don't report back to your employers. It's all right. But yeah, we liked the Haven holidays. They were you go to like caravan parks. They're very much made for families and young children. You go to these little caravan parks. And I remember it was always really exciting to go there, but always really nerve-wracking when you're about 5 or 6, walking back to your caravan. I was always really scared I'd go to the wrong caravan, knock on the door, they'd open the door and go, well, I guess you live with us now. And when you went to Haven, there was this kids club called the Tiger Club, right, run by this guy called Tory the Tiger? No, he wasn't called Tory the Tiger. I would have kicked him in the fucking balls if he was, Jesus. He was called Rory the Tiger. I don't know his politics. If I were to guess, probably Lib Dem, to be frank. But Rory the Tiger, he was the leader of the Tiger Club, right? And he had 2 mates with him. They were called Anxious the Elephant and Manic the Parrot. Like, what the fuck has he done to those animals? Also, one called Bipolar the Puffin, he managed to escape last week or something. So yeah, I loved those holidays. I used to love just going to the beach. We just sometimes get up in the morning, go to the beach. That's what we used to do. We didn't really go anywhere exciting. I used to love sort of, just going to the beach, because I used to love building sandcastles, because that's the closest I'll ever get to own property. And yeah, they were fun, right? But we never went anywhere exciting. I've never actually been abroad. I've never actually been on any of those, exciting kind of holidays a lot of people have, which means I don't really always connect with some of my middle class mates, because I know these type of people who just go like, oh, I went travelling, I really found myself. I'm like, oh, it's a shame what you found is so tedious. Do you want to maybe travel again and see if you find someone better? Just find it ridiculous, because I've never been anywhere exciting. I've never been abroad. The one time I could have gone was when I was about 11 or 12. There was a school trip to France, but I just got the sheet of paper. It was about 180 quid for a weekend. I was like that's too much for my family. I knew we didn't have that much money. So I was like, no, I told parents I didn't want to go, I just didn't fancy it. The real reason was I knew it was too expensive. I knew it was too expensive, right? But I just told them I don't fancy going abroad. So I was one of 2 kids in my class who didn't go to France that year, one of 2 of us who didn't go to Paris. And it was really weird because the other kids came back on Monday, they sort of had garlic around their necks and berets on their head, and I might have misremembered this slightly looking back. But they were having the best time, and me and this other kid had to really front it out and be like, yeah, well, you missed a great episode of Moaning the Vampire last week. And there's no catch up in those days, so you better hope your parents taped it, that's all I'm saying. Because yeah, we went on the really cheap holidays. We didn't do much exciting. And I think you do realise as you get older more and more ways that you are different to your other mates who are from slightly better upbringings. Like I remember once when I was about 12 or 13, right, we'd go to H&B and I'd be speaking to my friends, and my mate once picked up a DVD of Avatar and it was 16 quid. And I got my phone out, I went, Matt, look, it's 14 quid on eBay. You can get it for 2 quid cheaper online. And he just went, it's all right, I'll just buy it now. And in that moment, he went from me sort of going, oh, it's my friend Matt, to, oh, it's Matt, I bet he's got a fucking butler. And my mate John was also quite, he was very different to me with money, which I mean he would just spend a lot more. Like he was someone who would be walking around H&B with a massive pile of DVDs and CDs really sort of weighing him down, and I'd be like, John, do you know how much that's going to be? He'd go, I don't know, I'll just find out when I get to the till. Like he's playing real life supermarket sweep. And he's still not, he's still a bit like that with money now, because literally last Christmas he wanted to buy a toy duck for 8 quid, but he got out of the shop and went, oh, that duck was more expensive than what I thought it was going to be. And I was like, John, how much was it? And he said, oh, it was £34. Exactly, yeah? He's made a man blaspheme with that price. I was like, why did you buy it? And he was like, well, I just got to the front of the till and I didn't want to look silly. You spent £34 on a duck to not look silly. Fair enough, mate, smashed it, you know what I mean? But money's always there. It's something I wish I could not worry about, not think about, but it's always in the back of my head. Even when I'm just trying to watch TV and relax, I can't stop thinking about it. Because I was watching an episode of the Antiques Roadshow recently, because I'm a proper lad. And there was someone who brought something on, right? And they were like, oh, I've had this item in my family for about 50 years. It's quite rare. I want to just see what it's worth, see what the value is. And the expert looked at it and they were like, oh, it's quite a nice item, quite rare. I've not really seen one like this before. It's quite exciting, actually. I think I'd say this item's worth probably about £500,000. And then the person who's brought it on just went, oh, right. I don't know if you've ever been watching the Antiques Roadshow and ended up going, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? I just once want someone to go, fuck off. No, really, man. Is he taking the piss, guys? Is he fucking joking? Like, I just want to hear a bleep on the Antiques Roadshow, frankly. Like, I much prefer a show on ITV called Dickinson's Real Deal. These people are more sort of, some people know it, fantastic, there we go. These people are more down to earth. I think they're more sort of my people. They're more people who sort of come on and they go, oh, you right, mate? I found this in a pub toilet, so what's it worth? And the expert makes them an offer to try and buy it. The expert goes, oh, that's quite a good item. I think I'll give you about 20 quid for it. And then the person who's brought it on just goes, 30. And they get the 30 quid right. At the end of the episode, there's them holding that money in their hands, going, I only wanted a tenner! The best day of their life, they're so happy, it's amazing. I just much rather see proper representation of normal people on these game shows. Because I was watching an episode of Tipping Point recently, and when it got to the jackpot round, they asked the guy, oh, if you win £10,000, what are you going to spend it on? And he just went, well, I think I'll get a new watch. I've never been so happy to see someone fuck up in my life. Literally, it was like a goal had just been scored. I was like, yeah! I was just like, oh, what time is it? Time for you to fuck off, mate! Because, I'm not saying we should ban middle-class people from game shows. But let's let's try it for a bit, see what happens. I would just rather see like normal people on these game shows. I'd rather see like a working class location. When they're like, oh, Sue and Darren, they're looking for a council free bed for them and their 2 kids. And they're like, okay, Sue and Darren, here's the first property. Great, mate, we'll take it. Much shorter programme, much cheaper to make. Why would you not do it? Because at the moment, those shows are always just like, oh, Sebastian and Jennifer, they're looking for a lovely free bed for them and their dog in Somerset. And they look around these properties, they look around like the fucking free houses, they look around the mystery house, which basically means it costs an extra 10 grand, right? And then at the end of the episode it goes, oh, and in the end, Sebastian and Jennifer decided they don't want any of the properties, so they're still looking. You've wasted an hour of my life, mate! Oh, what was that show? Oh, posh people look around houses they don't fucking want. Fucking brilliant! I should check, really. Have any of you been on Escape to the Country? You never really know in London, but if you have been, I hope you bought it. A bit I like to do at this point in the show, I did it in Edinburgh and I did it yesterday, so I'll do it again today. I like to ask for suggestions of like either sort of like game shows and stuff like that, and I see if I can make them more working class. So if anyone's got a suggestion, wants to shout it out.
The Chase.
The Chase, okay. Working class The Chase, it's slightly different from the normal Chase. Basically what happens is a guy has to walk into Tesco, grab some frozen meat, and then get away from the security guard. If he gets away, well done mate, you've won the chase.
Blankety blank.
What happens in that one? Fuck. I should clarify, I need to know what happens in it. I don't know if I've seen that one. What's that one, sorry?
They fill in the blank something or something.
They fill in the blanks or something, don't they?
Price is right, we could go higher or lower.
I presume working class Price and Right would just be going like, higher! And the host goes, no, not for you.
University challenge.
Yeah, we don't go there.
Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal? Well, you'll see that in a second. I've got Mr. Say What You See up there, Jesus.
Only connect.
No, I've only got a limited time, I can't do any more, sorry. But what I can do is do this new game show that is definitely not Deal or No Deal. It's my own game show that I've called Meal or No Meal. Basically, in one box is 600 quid, because that's basically what people's bills have gone up by this year, gone up by 600 quid, and the other box is 54p. It's just a number, do you know what I mean, right? And because I just thought, either you can win and you can afford to eat, or you lose. It was a bit of fun. Just a bit of light entertainment. So, who wants to play Meal or No Meal? Oh, but this could be an awkward fucking hour. Here we go. You, sir. Okay, come on. Round of applause for the man. Hello, mate. What's your name?
Rob.
Rob, hello. Do you know the general rules of this game show that's definitely not copyrighted?
I find a banker and I choose which one of these I'm taking.
Pretty much. But what I'm going to do, because most game shows, right, they ask people, if you win the jackpot, what are you going to spend it on? But I don't want to do that, because A, I hate that, because either people want to buy a fucking watch or some shit like that, or B, people say something really nice, they go, oh, I think I'll use the money to help my dog get an operation. And then when they don't lose, the end of the episode is like, oh well, Jeff's dog's dead. Good night, everybody. So I don't want to do that. So if you won 54p, what would you spend it on?
I put it towards a Mars bar.
Well, I hope you might get that Mars bar. You might get £600. We'll see. So what are you feeling about the two boxes? What are you feeling?
This one looks more damaged. So that's been lived in.
Literally, it's my house.
This one is a new build. And as such, I think probably is the 54p. I think this is old money.
Let's see. Do you want to step next to the box while I open it?
Okay.
So you see what is. Do you think it's the right box, everyone?
Yes!
We'll see.
Okay.
No, you can't change it now. Just I've only got an
No,
hour.
well, they didn't say yeah, I'm going with this.
Okay, we'll see. Meal or no meal, will you eat this winter? Oh, well, I'm sorry, Rob, but you do get the 54p.
You're not going to give...
Thank you, everyone. I just hope he can afford his Mars bar one day.
What's in the other box?
And I will open up later for narrative reasons. Be open. Stay open though, but we know that was.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello. That was a good little game show. If anyone's casting for game show hosts, I want someone who's probably a little bit too blunt. But yeah, I know it's a big topic, money at the moment, for numerous reasons, right? And I did think during the pandemic, when everyone saw how close they were to not having much money and being in a really tough situation, I thought it'd make people a bit more sort of empathetic and a bit kinder to people who are struggling financially. That's until we had a genuine public debate over whether we should feed hungry school children. Now, I don't know what side you guys are on. Maybe some of you are sat there going, well, maybe playgrounds are too busy. I just think it's a really weird thing to argue about, when you have people saying stuff like, oh, if you can't afford to feed them, you shouldn't have them. And I'm like, mate, you're basically ignoring the reality of the economy there. Because, like, if someone earns £1 a month and food costs 80p a month, we go, you're a really good parent, well done you. If someone earns £1 a month and food goes up to 120, people just go, yeah, you should have thrown your kids down a well, Jeff. They're basically going, oh, I've always said it, mate, I've always said it. If you can't predict the next 20 years for economic activity, you should have what I find really fucking mad, right, is there's people out there who don't think we should give kids food for free, but they'll happily go to the park and feed the ducks. Like, cool, you're fine with duck socialism, fair enough, mate. And it's just, because all these people, right, they have this issue with this thing when they see it as a big issue, a big problem that they don't come face to face with. But then when they face the reality of it, they really, really break down. Because you have these people who sort of go, oh, if you can't afford to feed them, you shouldn't have them. And then when I go, oh yeah, my nephews get free school meals, oh, they get fucking tense. They end up going, oh no, mate, obviously not your nephews. And in fairness, I did dress them up as ducks. And it's so cute, it was adorable. But yeah, I just find it strange. I think, someone like Marcus Rashford, he did a lot of really good for the free school meals campaign. I think he did a lot of good for a lot of kids. I think he also did a lot of bad for kids though. Like he did good for kids because he helped them get food, he helped them get a bit of security, but he did bad for them because now there's going to be millions of kids who will grow up to be Man United fans. I'm just saying, will they suffer more in the long run? I'm a big fan of football, I'm not the most kind of laddish kind of football fan. I'm more a sort of football fan who's like the referee's doing the best he can in difficult circumstances. Or like, the referee's a wanker and that's perfectly natural, mate. He's just not on the pitch, come on. But yeah, I like football a lot, even though I don't really relate to those manly football fans. And the one man I relate to probably less than any man in history is the guy before the Euro 2020 final, right, when England were in the final. And he was so excited by it that he stuck a little firework up his butt. And people started going like, oh, you wouldn't find it funny if this guy seriously hurt himself, would you? And I was like, mate, have you met British people? Literally, if he died once a year, we'd burn an effigy of a guy with a firework up his arse. Badil and Skinner would re-release the song, so it's like, firework up your bum. Charlie's cheeks are steaming. 40 seconds of hurt. We couldn't stop the bleeding. Everybody does. But they actually interviewed the firework bum guy in The Sun the next day. Because like The Sun are proper journalists, you know. And they said to him, why'd you do it? Why'd you stick this firework up your bum? And he just went, well, we had a tough 18 months. I just thought it would help bring the country together. Like literally, never have I wanted a man to enter politics more in my life. Oh, what are we going to do about this crisis? I've got an idea, everyone. Here we go. And he also said in the article, right, that this guy, even though he was like, you know, this hooligan, right, he was wearing like a £500 Armani bucket hat on his head. And I was like, God, that shows how far gone hooligans have gone. I fucked that joke up. Okay. Forget that last bit. We'll cut it out in the edit. I just thought, you know, it shows how far gone football... Can we roll that one out for VAR? It's okay, cool, right. I just thought it shows how far gone football has gone, when even the hooligans have been gentrified. It's a lovely feeling as a stand-up when they're not clapping you telling a joke, just getting the sentence correct. Yay, say more sentences, Tom. Sorry? You just say you can do it. What's going on here, mate? I mean, thank you. Are you a therapist or what's this? I appreciate it, thank you. You thought the whole audience were going to do it, but it was just you, just a really quiet voice. Yeah, go ahead, But yeah, I know money's a big topic at the moment because we're living in this thing called the cost of living crisis, and if you don't know what the cost of living crisis is, it's kind of like a long-awaited sequel to the recession. It's kind of like a spin-off of the credit crunch. It's definitely part of the same poverty cinematic universe. I fucking hate it when they go, oh, there's this new thing called the cost of living crisis, and I'm always like, are you sure it's not austerity with a moustache? And then MPs come out and say shit like, it's alright, all we've got to do is just tighten our belts. I'm like, mate, I sold my belt 6 years ago. When you fucking last said that sentence, Jesus. And they say things like, oh, it's alright, all you guys got to do is just, if you're worried about bills, just, pop the heating off and pop on a jumper. Like, Jesus, wow, thanks for explaining how clothes work. Fucking hell. As if you go around someone's house, they're frozen to death on the floor, and they've got a jumper tied around their leg. You go, see, this is the problem, guys. They're just not taught how to wear clothes at school. That's the issue. It's fucking mad. And there's always these people who say, the same shit about people who can't afford to move out and can't afford to get their own homes. They say stuff like, oh, it's all right if you can't afford your own home as you're a millennial, and you can't afford your own home, it's alright, all you've got to do is just cancel your Netflix and stop buying avocados. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I've never bought an avocado. Do they cost 500 grand? Someone said no. I mean, thank fuck for that, because I genuinely thought they did. I mean, imagine how big it would have to be to cost 500 grand. But yeah, I've been trying to think of ways we can solve this, ways we can make things better, ways we can help people. And the main policy I've landed on is I think we should start eating the rich. Okay, a group of about 3 of you are ready to get started. I think there's also middle class people going up. Like, just to clarify, if you're middle class, you're not the rich. That should make them feel better, right? You know? And what about the uber rich, the 1%, the people right at the top, you know? Because I just think they've had the nicest places to grow up, they've had the best places to live, the best places to run around growing up, so they're basically free range. And people always go, oh, cows are really bad for the environment. Like, I've never seen a cow driving a private jet. Granted, I've never been on a private jet, so who fucking knows? They might be, do they? Anyone know? No one. None of us have been on private jets, that's why. I just think you could say to most vegans, most vegetarians, look mate, look, if you eat a Tory MP, look how much the emissions go down. They would go, fair enough, let's save the planet, let's do it mate. At this point of the show, I'd like to again ask the audience, if you were to eat a rich person, who would you pick?
Boris Johnson.
Straight in there with Boris Johnson. It's a good choice. Why? I mean, what do you buy? Why?
Because he's a rich man. He has a private jet and all.
And then he'd be dead, which would be boss.
He's too fatty.
Oh, someone said he's too fatty. See, my concern is he tastes absolutely disgusting.
It's worth a try though.
It is, fair enough.
I'm on Atkins, I love it.
Okay, as literally never had someone say Boris before. Every other show people have gone, nah, he'd be disgusting. But you guys are like, fuck it, we're near him, let's go for it. Anyone else got maybe one rich person, one other person? It's fine if you don't.
Jeff Bezos.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Jeff Bezos, why?
He's awful.
No one ever goes, who would taste nice? They just go, which motherfucker can I kill today?
Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Oh, don't tweet that. He'll shit his pants about it, apparently. Oh, you can't block me in the real world, Elon. Yeah, you're a cunt. I think if I had to eat any rich person, I'd probably eat J.K. Rowling. I just think it'd be good to go sort of like, look JK, look, you used to be a woman, now you're a roast dinner, people can change. So just, I haven't got time for people being fucking transphobic. I've got mates who are trans, mates who are all sorts of different identities. I don't really think it matters. I think it's weird when people go, oh, I just can't keep up with it, I can't keep up with all these different things, because in my day it was he and she, now there's too many to keep up with. I'm like, mate, you're fine with names. If you can remember, his name's Dave, he's a builder, and he once did a shit in a cement mixer. I think you can remember their name is Alex, and they've never shat in a cement mixer. I'd argue the biggest problem is what the fuck is wrong with Dave? And when people say shit like, oh, I just don't like it, people just changing their name, you just can't do it. I'm like, mate, there's always people who change their name for one reason or the other, but no one is going to go up to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and go, oi mate, I heard your dad never even fucked a pebble. Because he'd absolutely batter them, wouldn't he? Like, to clarify, I don't mind people being capitalists, I don't mind people believing in capitalism if you do, I just wish you would do it in your own homes. I don't mind people being capitalists, just wish you wouldn't talk about trickle-down economics in front of my nephews. It's just not natural, is it really? It's just not natural. I'm quite sure it does say so in the Bible, in fact. Someone should tell that prick Jacob Rees-Mogg. Is he in? Of course not, he doesn't like fun. But yeah, you know, I guess it's been a weird couple of years for lots of people in the arts, lots of people who are struggling financially, and for so many different reasons. You know, I mean, one thing that shows how so many people are skint at the moment is that occasionally you see it when someone passes away, they have to set up a crowdfunder to afford their funeral. So basically I thought I'd set up mine nice and early. So I'm taking bids now, like if you want to get a little bowl of my ashes, it's only £10. Or if you want to get a signed copy of the funeral listing, that's £50. Or for 500 quid, you can take the corpse to Fort Park. Like, I know it sounds like a lot of money, that 500 quid, but it does include one of those little key rings of us on the roller coaster. So you're sort of, woo, and I'm just there. Oh, do you enjoy it, Tom? Well, he's nodding. Anyone want a bid? Feel free to let me know. Actually, it's not that I mind, I don't even particularly mind being skint. I've always been fucking skint. Like, literally, before I did stand-up as a living, the main job I used to work in Sainsbury's. Oh, what a name dropper. And I remember when I worked there, I remember when I applied for the job, right, the application form said, the successful applicant should be passionate about working in retail. Who the fuck is passionate about working in retail? As if you're going to go, oh, here's Kevin, he's worked here 30 years, he's always got a smile on his face, all the customers know his name, but he does occasionally get carried away and spunk in the bread aisle. Just gets too excited about the bargains and makes a mess. You have to go to the town like, Kevin's done it again, everybody. But he's a great employee, Kevin. He loves Sainsbury's. He's actually got "Live Well for Less" tattooed on his chest. He loves it. He loves the brand. He defended it with his life. In fact, literally, last week he did stab someone who worked in Morrison's. The guy was like, your basics range is shit. He just completely lost it. Like, retail gang warfare is serious stuff, guys. I mean, that's a weird thing. When I used to work in Sainsbury's, occasionally people would come in and they'd sort of be like, oh, I got a good deal on Tesco's the other day. Oh, I shouldn't say that in here. As if I was going to go, oh. You go to other shops? Why? After all the nectar points! And all along, I bet you've got a Boots Advantage card as well, don't you? So I didn't really give a shit. No one really gives a shit if you go to different shops. But also, another thing, when you used to work in Sainsbury's, right, occasionally I'd be outside, not at work, and a customer would come up to you and go, ah, you know, at Sainsbury's today, Tom? I was like, I don't fucking live there, mate. As if, oh, I finished my shift, just go sleep in the manager's office. I'm not doing that again. Oh, man. But yeah, I don't mind being skint, even though it was annoying, because literally, January 2020, things were going well, that's when I was finally doing alright at stand-up, that's when I was last at the Soho Theatre, I was finally earning proper money for the first time in my life. I was earning sort of like over £1,000 a month for the first time in my life, all from comedy, and I was like, oh, it's going really, really well. January, February, March, it's going really well. Nothing can stop me now. And it was tough, it was really fucking tough, man. And I remember, I felt really down, I didn't really know where I was going in my career, and one of my mates tried to cheer me up. He tried to cheer me up by being like, oh, it's alright, Tom, don't worry, just, you don't have achieved everything by the time you turn a certain age, like by the time you turn 30, whatever, you don't have done it all by now, because just think of Vincent van Gogh, He only sold one painting in his life, but look at him now. Yeah, he's dead, mate, yeah. It's not really what I'm aiming for, to be honest. Like, when someone says, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, 6 feet under, but very rich. I don't really want to do that. So it was tough, man, but the government did stuff to help during that time. That they did set up a career skills quiz to help people who lost their job in the arts, to help you know what you should retrain for, but the options weren't very good. But at the time, I was signing on. So I had the lovely opportunity of signing on and being like, well, the government test says I should try and do these jobs. So I will go to the government people at the DWP and say, can you help me get these jobs? So I had a lovely phone call with my job search advisor, where she was like, oh, Mr. Mayhew, I've seen the 3 jobs you want to apply for. Right, okay. Job 1, you've put footballer. Job 2, you've put bingo caller. And job 3, you've put boxer. I don't really think they're very realistic right now. And I fucking love the right now there, by the way. And I can't explain to you how much it hurts your self-esteem, right? When you used to make your living doing stand-up comedy, and then someone goes, yeah, I can't really see you being a bingo caller. I just don't know if you've got the transferable skills, you know what I mean? And she said I couldn't be a boxer, didn't once ask about my fight record. Not showing off, but I am undefeated, so... And then later in the phone call, she was like, oh, maybe you could apply for this licence that helps you work in public buildings, so you can be something like a job centre security guard. And I was like, mate, are you literally just looking around the room at the moment? Like, if we chatted for 5 more minutes, would you go, have you thought about retraining as a clock? You've got 2 hands, you can give it a go, haven't you? So yeah, it was frustrating. It was frustrating to sort of lose all my work.